Let's begin today with an understanding of what it is about narcissism that can just drive you crazy. When you're in the presence of a highly narcissistic person, you're in the presence of someone who wants to control you. These individuals are highly self-obsessed. They want to be in the superior position. They feel entitled. They can have a lot of condescension toward anyone that dares to disagree with them. They don't particularly care about what you feel and think and perceive because it's all about themselves. Now, as we look at these kind of people, we can scratch our heads thinking, do they have to be like this? I mean, can't they learn to be any different or any better? I want to focus today on one quality that would cure a person of their narcissism. And as I mentioned this, you're probably going to walk away thinking, well, I don't think that's going to happen, but I want to go ahead and get it out there anyway. And it's the quality of transcendent thinking. Now, that's a fancy sounding word, but let's see if we can break it down and make it real practical for everyday use. When we think about somebody thinking with transcendent thoughts, we're talking about learning how to go beyond what is just right there in front of you. In our normal life, we're all concerned with things that we might put under the category of the mundane aspects of life. You know, our functions, our duties, our responsibilities, how things are done. And of course, those kind of things lend itself to opinions and preferences and all of that. And you can see that a self-absorbed person can get so caught up in the mundane task of life that that's all that they really consider themselves with. But when we talk about having a sense of transcendence, we look at bigger issues beyond that. You know, you start with the assumption that says, I'm just one person here out of 7 billion. It's the ultimate absurdity to think that life is supposed to go according to my preferences, my cravings, and my desires. And when I say the ultimate absurdity, it really is. The narcissist is like, well, I'm so important that everybody has to cater to me. Really? And that is such a self-focused kind of thing. In transcendence, we focus on things like spirituality or beauty or mystery or the meaning of life or how to connect with one another, what it means to have a sense of influence over as opposed to just simply control, those kind of things. Now, let's go back and underscore how people can develop into transcendence. You know, when you're a little child, in fact, you are concerned with the mundane parts of life. What are we going to have for supper tonight? Or mom says I'm supposed to clean up my room, or I have my friends or my activities that I prefer and I want to go ahead and pursue those kind of things. And it's just natural for little kids to have that self-focus and they have that kind of myopic view of life. It's all about me and my world. But as that child grows older, you hope that they can learn how to expand beyond. Keeping in mind, transcendence means going beyond. You want the child to learn how to expand beyond their simple little focus. In other words, there's other people out there to consider. And when we teach little children to share, or when we teach children to be courteous, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to teach them a little bit of transcendent thinking. Kids, though, they think, what is it that makes me get my way? You know, how can I make you do my bidding? Or if I do this, are you going to get mad at me? Or what do I have to do to be the best? Or what makes me feel good right now in the moment? And so we have to be aware that that's just kind of the way their brains operate. We need to teach them to go beyond that. And hopefully, particularly during the teenage years and certainly in the early adult years, you would be willing to ponder some of those bigger kinds of questions in life. Unfortunately, narcissists are stuck in childish thinking. Their whole notion is, I don't want to coordinate with you. Or, I've got enough of my answers, so shut up. Or, I do have principles, and I do have guiding values. So I don't need anybody else telling me what to do. You need to have the same principles as me. Or, when you differ from me, well, you're just a nuisance, or you're being selfish, or you're too much trouble, or you're wrong, end of discussion. You're stifling me. That's that closed-in style that narcissists use. Let me give you quite a few thoughts here as to how transcendent thinking would contrast with that mundane, narcissistic, me kind of mentality, and see if these are some characteristics or some thoughts that you would be able to hold on to as you go through your life. And again, narcissists, if they want to get out of their narcissism, these things I'm about to mention would get you there. Is it going to happen? Well, you be the judge. All right, let's focus on certain thoughts. First, when you're in transcendent thinking, you start with the notion that says, I want to be conscientious in the way that I deal with others. Yes, I have my thoughts, but so do you. And I want to make sure that there's a sense of courtesy and decency in the way that I engage. I'm aware of my singularity in the landscape of humanity. Life is not all about me. And I want to remind myself of that constantly. It's not all just about me. Another thought. I like pondering questions like the meaning of life and how to find purpose. Those kinds of topics intrigue me, and I want to spend my entire life pursuing thoughts such as that. I'm quite open to themes of spirituality, and I recognize that I'll never figure all of it out. I'm okay with mystery, so if you have different themes regarding spirituality and the meaning of life, I'd like to learn from you. Let's talk, and let's see if we can go into that space in an expansive kind of way. I realize that one-size-fits-all solutions rarely work. Let's explore each other's uniquenesses. I want to know your nuances. Surely you've arrived at conclusions maybe a little bit differently from me. What's that all about? Or another thought. Humans that are at their best when they're curious, as opposed to closed-minded. I want to be growth-oriented. I want to be into expansive thinking. I greatly value learning and coming to terms with things that I otherwise might not have thought about before. Another thought, I prioritize wisdom over knowledge. I like knowledge. By the way, narcissists love to be correct, but they don't necessarily apply their correctness in a wise way. They may say they have principles that guide them, and they often do, but they, as they approach their principles, they do so with a closed-minded way. Here are the principles, you need to do it. Whereas the non-narcissistic transcendent person says, I like my knowledge, but I want to apply it in a wise way. How does it impact you and me in a healthy kind of way? And in addition, not only do I like knowledge, but I want to be loving as well as wise. Love is a priority that I give myself over to. Another thought, no one person arrives at his or her station in life without many influences. What are the influences that brought you to the place that you are right now, and how you think and how you respond to life? I'd be glad to share with you mine. You see, there's that looking out. Or another thought. I realize that conflict reveals so much of what's truly on the inside of a person. Let's make sure that when we are in conflict with each other, that we're able to draw upon a mature, healthy, wise way of engaging with each other. In conflict, we're going to get to see what we're really made of. Another primary thought, the transcendent person begins with the notion that says, every person has dignity. I want to help you find yours, and I'd like to live into my dignity as I engage with you. Or another thought, and that is being a connector. Makes sense. I'd rather do that than being a divider. And then in the end, we're all known for our capacity for love. As I mentioned just a minute ago, how does my commitment to love inform the way that I engage with you in my today? Now, you see, when you're dealing with a narcissist, you're dealing with individuals who are so closed in. It's all about me, my little bitty world, and me having to be in control and throwing a temper tantrum when I don't get it. Whereas that transcendent person says, oh, there is so much beyond me. And it's the ultimate, well, let's just call it foolishness for me to say everything has to revolve around me. There are things out there that are much bigger and much grander than me. I have my dignity, I have my worth, but I'm but one of many, many, many other elements of creation. I want to know how I stand in that in such a way where I can blend and harmonize well. If a narcissist could lay down their self-focus and learn to be more transcendent in the way that they think, then we'd have a lot easier world. I'm not terribly optimistic that that's going to happen in their life, but I will say this. Someone needs to be the person that says, well, I want to think big picture. It might as well start with me. And as I engage with you, I'd like for you to join me in that. Would you do so? And so I'm hoping that you can be that kind of person that doesn't get bogged down in that simplistic, self-focused, mundane way that the narcissist does. And that you're the kind of person that says, I want to be someone that's whose life has meaning, wisdom, dignity, respect, civility. That's what I stand for. And in doing so, then I'm going to be permanently entrenched on Team Healthy. That's where I want to go. Now, I do hope that videos such as this provoke some good thinking on the inside of you. I hope that you can be that transcendent thinker just as a matter of ongoing learning. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so, and we'll keep more videos coming your way. It may, and by the way, we have an email list, and we'd encourage you to sign up for that. It may be that you'd like to seek out counseling. I've been a therapist my entire life, and I make referrals for people to do that, obviously, when they have the need. If you have someone in your area, I would strongly encourage you to seek that out. If you don't have someone in your area, but you'd like to seek it out, we've vetted an online counseling service that could help you. There's a link below there, and we have good feedback from people who have used that service. In addition, I have my free-to-be online course, workshop. And when I say workshop, it's huge. And it has 6 modules, 38 7-minute sessions that you're going to be asked to have a lot of personal reflections, part of that transcendent thinking. In addition, we have links below to that, of course. And then we have survivingnarcissism.tv, drlescarter.com, and other resources below. I want you to be a big picture thinker. Narcissists are so focused on me, me, me. And yes, me matters to a point, but I want me to be a part of an us. And as we can think in terms of us and bring that kind of maturity to the table, then I'm hoping that we could find a certain amount of harmony, and you can live in your well-deserved place of peace.